Hello and welcome. My name is Spencer, and I cover video games, big and small, mostly smaller games, small indie games that I think are interesting that people might like. But I do also look into larger games, or I plan to in the future. And if you enjoy this kind of video, please leave a like and subscribe. So, Stronghold is not a series that I have played before, which I guess comes at or with an advantage and also a disadvantage because I don't know what's typical in a Stronghold game. So I have nothing to compare this to. But I guess it's also good because I'm new, I'm fresh. I don't know anything about this. I'm coming at it from a clean slate. But what I will say is that I feel like this is a game that has a lot of potential, but it just seems to be lacking in a number of ways. I think the most glaring thing for me is capturing other warlords, like you can see I'm starting to do now. I'm starting to attack this warlord. And all you have to do is do enough damage to this guy so he kneels. You get some units close to him and you capture him. There's no there's no diplomacy or anything like that. And in order to try to sway him to your side, you just capture him. And once you do, I believe the only interactions you have with that warlord is using influence points, which is something you gain passively from a particular building that you have to build. You can upgrade the warlord to level 2, and I think that's it. You can request a shipment of wood, you can request stone, and I believe you can request iron. And I think that's it. So there's not a whole lot of interaction here. And you have to constantly keep on top of ordering new shipments of things. It would be nice if there was an option, if I know I want this particular warlord to just give me stone, to like have a button or a setting where it can automatically renew and I don't have to keep going back and forth to it, opening up the menu saying, yes, I want more stone, yes, more stone, every single time. There are little timers that will pop up on the right side of the screen that will there's a bar that will deplete, and that will tell you when you can order something new, but it's just kind of tedious, and there's no real interaction with the warlords, to be honest. So that's one thing I don't necessarily like. But I do like being able to build the little strongholds, and you can I didn't get too much into this, but you can build a whole wall layout and build different towers and stuff like that and really build up your defenses. Except at least on this map, I wanted to show this map because I tried this several times and I couldn't figure out how to win. Because one of the other problems that this game has is that on this particular map at least, the enemy kind of just spams armies at you. It's not like every 10 seconds there's a new army coming at you, but I don't have the ability to build up enough good troops, axemen and bowsmen, in order to deal with these armies quickly. And I tried to figure out what I found out from reading is that building placement is very important in this game. And so having resources close to the, like, say you need wood for the Fletcher who makes bows. So it's important that where you chop down the wood is close geographically to where the Fletcher is, so you can get the wood to the Fletcher, and then from the Fletcher you get that to the armory who stores the weapons. And then I believe once the weapons are in the armory, then you can recruit troops because the equipment is there to recruit them. And I tried building multiple Fletchers, multiple armorers, or whatever they're called, to produce the axemen. And it seemed like no matter what I did, and I always made sure that I had enough wood and stone in supply, but it seemed like no matter what I did on this map, I could not boost how quickly I'm producing bows and axes for these better units. And so I failed several times during this map because I couldn't keep pace with the armies being sent my way. And I ended up having to spam a bunch of the spearmen to try to deal with these armies. And I ended up failing numerous times because the spearmen are not enough to deal with the axemen and the bowmen that were being sent my way. And it just got really frustrating. And finally on this playthrough, I figured it out. I was being a bit more aggressive. And somehow I had maybe figured out the right composition of armies. But I was able to hold down enough warlords and keep the enemy on this map at bay. It seemed like I needed a lot of bowmen to whittle down an army before it actually got to my melee units. So even if I just had the spearmen, they could deal with those units pretty easily. You know, and one of the other things is that it would be nice if you could create your own art, like designate your own armies. So it'd be nice if you could select troops and then say, okay, I want to group all these into one army. And so you could have maybe a few axemen, a bunch of archers, and then maybe one of these, I forget what they're called. They're these little rocket carts. You can kind of see it on the left of the screen right now. That'll shoot rockets at enemy troops. It'd be nice to organize them into armies and then have either a tab or have them show up on the screen somewhere where you can just click on the little flag for the army, and you can just select it quickly and send them to where you want them to go. Instead, you have to produce each unit individually, and they produce instantly. But then you have to manually select everything. I mean, you can, hold down the left mouse button and, just get a big square and select a bunch of the troops. But it's just kind of finicky. It would be nice to be able to put them all under one flag. There is also, you can see in the lower right-hand corner, there's kind of a happiness indicator. So, from what I understand, the number on the right, the 16, is the happiness level. And as you increase taxes, the happiness will go down. As you increase food rations, the happiness will go up. And if your population is unhappy, you won't have citizens coming in. And if you don't have citizens coming in, you don't have anybody to work any rice fields or vegetable gardens or recruit into your army. So you do have to make sure that you're producing enough food for your people for them to be happy. Although I never really ran into this as a major problem. Happiness was always fine, and I was just trying to figure out how can I make people the most happy so I can tax them more, so I can get more money, and then I can build more units and other things that I need to win faster, is basically what that came down to. So that I don't feel like there's a lot of depth with that. You certainly can't do well. You can buy and sell some products, but there's no trading of any kind. And this kind of comes back to what I said before about the warlords, is that you can have them send things to you, but you can't trade anything with them, and there's no diplomatic penalty for asking a particular warlord to send you wood or stone or whatever it is over and over and over again. Whereas if you were playing some other game, like I'm thinking of Total War 3 Kingdoms, which I've played quite a bit of. If you keep asking and asking and asking one particular faction for more resources over and over again, they're going to get annoyed with you. Like, they're going to get pissed off at you, and they're not going to want to trade with you anymore. That's not a thing in this game. You don't have to worry about that. You can just, like, once you capture these guys, you can just suck them dry of all their resources. And they don't seem to run out or anything. There's just, you request the shipments, and then there's a cooldown period, or you have to wait until they're done trading it, and then right afterwards you can take more. So there's no real diplomacy, which is what I was hoping for. I was hoping there would be a more robust diplomacy system, and there isn't. Like I mentioned before, you can see now that I'm spamming a bunch of spearmen, because those few troops that you're seeing right now without the spearmen would not be able to handle that army. That army doesn't look big, and it's not, but those few troops that I had, the axemen and a couple of archers, would not be able to handle this at all. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of strategy with troop movement. It is good if you have archers, or there's, I forget what they're called. I don't have any right now, but they're like, I think they're called blowpipe troops. That, I guess they just like shoot darts through a blowpipe. And it is good to have a bunch of those and then have them shoot at a bunch of units and whittle them down. And once they're weakened, then you send the melee troops in. But that's pretty standard for, I feel like, almost any RTS out there. You want to weaken the enemy first with range, and then go in and attack them with melee. Okay, and so I don't want to just crap on this game the entire video, because I do generally like what the game has going on. I like that you can build up your own stronghold, your own castle, and you can add a bunch of towers and make it super defensible, and you can build, you know, the rocket artillery, which will eviscerate troops on the ground. You can build trebuchets and all this kind of stuff, and it's really cool. I like being able to do that. It just, the game just feels like it's lacking. The visuals are fine, but I don't think it looks as nice as it could. God, I said I didn't want to crap on this game the entire video, and I don't. But this, for now, this is gonna have to be. If you were thinking about buying this game, I would say pass on it for now. Maybe they'll do some updates. They'll change some things. Already, they must have fixed a few things, because the first time I played yesterday, on some of the menus, actually on the menu or the stuff that shows up on screen when I finish a game, that tells you, I think it tells you like how many troops you killed and how much of a particular resource you produced. The text didn't show up. Like, there were just empty squares, empty boxes that showed up on the screen, so I couldn't read anything. That's been fixed, though. like I finished this game, I finished another game, and the text was all filled in. So they fixed that already, so that's really good. And I also had a problem when in the options menu you can either have the mouse locked to the window or you can have it unlocked from the window. And it didn't matter whether I checked that box or not, the mouse was locked to the window because I have two monitors. So I wanted to be able to pause the game and move the mouse outside of the game and to the second monitor if I needed to look at something. And I couldn't do that before. Now that seems to be fixed. It seems to work okay, and I can move the mouse outside of the window. So that's good. And the game, when did the game come out? The game came out on Tuesday actually, and today's Thursday. So already they've got a few of those things addressed, which is good. And so I would hope that they're going to keep updating the game and they're going to add more things and add fixes and stuff like that. But it is a $40 game. It came out. It's not an early access. It is kind of, well, not kind of, it is disappointing that it just seems to be lacking features, lacking depth. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Yeah, so I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I will keep it installed and see what sort of updates show up over the next few weeks, the next month, and see how the game changes. If it changes in a major way, I may make another video and say, hey, they've done a lot, they've changed a bunch of things, and it's really great, and you should consider picking it up. But for now, it's gonna be a pass. I do generally like what's going on. It just, I feel like it needs more work. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end of this video. I'm new to doing YouTube videos, but I really like doing it. So, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like. Please subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a good day. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.